Okay, here we are working with Audacity, and what we're going to do today is bring a WAV file in and convert it to an MP3. But before we actually convert it, we're going to make a few adjustments on it and get it ready for our online podcast for our church. So let's go ahead and get started by bringing in the file. Go to Import, Audio, and we're going to look for Pastor Brian today. I've already done the two above it, so I know I want this one. And we're going to bring it in. And we're going to leave this setting where it is. It does make it work faster, and it'll leave the original alone. We don't want to touch the original on this. Okay, so we got it brought in here. And the first thing I like to do is change it to a waveform. So I do that. If you didn't see that, if I was a little too quick, I went down here and clicked on waveform dB. Now I can make that a little bit bigger so we can see what we got going. And it looks like there's a couple of little problems with this. We have gaps here and gaps here, so I'm not sure what this gap is all about, and actually not sure what this one is. So we're going to go in there and find out. But first, let's go ahead and take care of the amplification of it. I want to amplify this file just to make sure we're getting enough quality out of it. So to do that, I'm going to hit Control All, and that just selects everything in here. And I'm going to go to Effects and then to Amplify. I'm going to turn on Allow Clipping. I know that clipping's a bad thing and all that, but I like to do that and then bring this up to 1, so it's a little over 0, so it just makes it a little louder. I can adjust that if I need to, and we could even preview it right here if we wanted to. So let's go ahead and preview it.
Have fun. Open up your Bibles to 3 John if you have it, and if you don't.
That sounds good to me. It doesn't really need to be much louder than that, and if it does, I can turn up the gain control in a different area, and I can show you that. So I'm going to click OK. Okay, there it goes. Give it another second to finish what it's doing. Okay, now we're ready to go. So what I want to do now is let's look into what this is, why we have a hole right here, gap in the time. So let's play that.
Replace my batteries before I officially start here. Thank you.
Okay, we found out why. He wants to replace his batteries before he starts. So let's go ahead and jump over here. We know we're not going to want any of this over here. Let's jump over here and see what he says.
All right, we're in a series of Don't Duck Dynasty, and if you're listening,
That worked good, except for the part where he took a big breath. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in right there. And you could just click and drag and let go and take out that breath. But we want to actually take out everything from right here to the beginning of the clip. So I'm just going to click there, and I'm going to hold down the shift, and then I'm going to click J. That's going to take me all the way from my cursor all the way to the beginning of the clip. And then I'm going to hit backspace. And then I'm going to click here to return us all the way to the beginning. Now we've got the beginning of the clip, and we should be right there.
all right, we're in a series of Don't Duck Dynasty.
That sounds good. And then now we're going to come down here, and we're going to see if we can't find the end where we want to end this clip. So let's just click in here somewhere.
And in so doing, I know that God will just bring the happiness and the joy that I need. And the simple response is this. You would say, you know what?
No.
Be a much happier person than doing the wrong things.
Okay.
So we're going to close in prayer. And
Right there. That looks like the spot we need to be. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in again at my cursor. I'm not sure what that is. Let's test that.
Thanks.
Okay. Let's go from here.
Than doing the wrong things.
Okay, that was the end of his word. It was just really light. I couldn't tell. So from this point, we don't want anything to the end of the clip. So this time, instead of doing Shift J, we're going to do Shift K. And then we're going to hit backspace. And that's going to take away everything to the end of the clip. Now, if you remember, we had this big gap here. So we need to come in here and find out, okay, why do we have this gap now? So let's go ahead and zoom in to our cursor right there. And let's see what's
And a half
going on.
now. Such a good feeling. Shut up. Stop going through my head song, And so I hope it tortures you the way it has tortured me. But we're going to look at Phil Robertson and see what makes him.
Okay, so it right there, what we're doing here is there's a video clip that he's playing and we don't have the audio to it. So I'm going to see if I can cut that out, and let's see if we can make it sound a little natural when I cut that out of there. So I think it was right around in here.
Tortured me. But we're going to look at Phil Robertson and
Okay, so about there. And let's zoom out. And let's grab that and let's go all the way across the screen to here. And then I'm going to backspace. Okay, now I've cut that out of there. And I'm going to zoom back in to get a little more fine detail. Okay, and I'm going to back up.
so I hope it tortures you the way it has tortured me. All right, all in good fun, right? So Phil Robertson's advice to us, or wisdom to us, that he's passing on to his grandson, is this idea of if you want
Hey, that sounded pretty good. Okay, so I don't think we need to do anything else to that. It almost sounds natural, like he was having fun back here at this point. And then he goes on to talk about the other guy during the video, but you really didn't miss much. So let's just hit our backspace again. And now what I want to do is let's fade these in. I want to fade this in so it's not quite so hard coming in. It's just going to fade up. I'm going to go about 2 seconds. So about right there, you can see I got number 2. And then I'm going to come over here to effects and fade in. Okay, now I can get back where I was.
All right, we're in a series of Don't Duck Dynasty, and if you're listening
go.
on the radio,
That sounded good. I like that. And then we're going to come back here to the end as well. And we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to reverse it. And we're going to fade out. So let's grab, I don't know. Let's try that. And go to effects and fade out. Let's see what happens there.
doing the wrong things.
Yeah,
Person, then doing the wrong things.
that sounded good. It was just right. I like that. So now we have it. We have our whole audio clip. It's trimmed. It sounds good. It's up. Now we're going to go ahead and export this to an MP3 so that we can upload it to our website. And right here is the export. And this is in our podcast. And the only thing I'm going to change on this, you could change the file name to whatever you want. I'm just going to take off the end of that. And if you come over here to options, we already set on MP3. You come over here to options and you have the choice to change a few things here. I personally like it at 64. It works good. It's a pretty small file size. It doesn't sound bad on the radio or on the podcast. I keep that on stereo. You could change it to joint stereo, whatever you like, but I keep it on stereo. And I just click OK. Now I'm going to go to save. And it brings up another dialog box where we can add more information, who did it, the track title, and we fill these in, but there's a quicker way to do it, and you can save it. So if you were to fill all this in and hit save, you could save this like I did, and then come back here and hit load. And this is for Pastor Brian. So I already have one here for Pastor Brian, so I'm going to go ahead and double click that. Now see it's all preloaded. Hey, Don't Duck Jesus, that was the last one we did. But instead, I want to change that to the new message for this one was called Happy. And it's still on the title, Don't Duck Dynasty. And then I'm going to click OK. And it's going to start saving. And I will let you know when it's all done. Okay. File is all exported. It's now in an MP3 format. And I can go ahead and close this. I'm going to close it. It's going to ask me if I want to save it before closing. And I'm just going to tell it no because I've already exported what I want. So say no. Now if I went back up to File and Import Audio, I come back over here to Pastor Brian, and you see when I open this, it's going to go through all the same stuff again. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel it because I just wanted to show you that it didn't do anything to that file. But now we actually have another file. So I'm going to go ahead and click in here, go to podcast, and now we have the file that we did make. And if you look, it's 17 megabytes. That's down from 250 megabytes down to 17.2 megabytes for this file. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Let's see how it sounds that we'll be listening to the file we just got done creating. Okay. It'll eventually show up here. There it is. Now we just go ahead and hit play.
All right, we're in a series of Don't Duck Dynasty, and if you're listening on the radio, 89.9 The Bridge, we're glad that you're listening. If you're watching on Ustream, we're glad that you're watching tonight, and we're going to have a great time getting into God's Word. And the idea of Don't Duck Dynasty.
So there you go. We have it all created nicely. Let's check out the end of it. Let's go in here and
walk in truth, and you'll be a happy person. That's the summation of the third book of John. And it's just that, you're going to be a much happier person than doing the wrong things.
And there you have it. You've completed this lesson. And when we go to the next series, I will show you how to take this MP3 file and cut it into 2 services and upload it for a radio station. Thanks for checking it out.